Canadian Context number 5. I'm joined by my host, Abigail Banda, and our very first guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Warren Miles-Pickup. I'm the CMO and COO of Pixel True, Pixel Copy, and Pixel Publishing. I spent 15 years working in finance. Canadian finance did about $2 billion of sales, left that a few years ago to venture into entrepreneurship and live on Vancouver Island. I have 3 amazing daughters, an incredible wife, and 2 dogs that I spend a lot of time out in the woods with.
Wow, that is very impressive. So, why don't
Thank you.
you kind of explain what the role of a COO and CMO is?
Sure. So essentially, I'm in charge of the operations, marketing, and sales for a graphic design agency, a copywriting agency, and a self-publishing agency. So I organize the team. I develop all of the schedules and the plans and the standard operating procedures for our teams to deliver high quality designs, copywriting, and books for the different companies that we work with, whether it's coaches, consultants, brand new startups, organizations as large as KPMG, Manulife, that sort of thing. We work with a lot of different companies to help them essentially connect and develop their authority with their ideal clients.
Wow, sounds like you're pretty busy.
I tend to be. But I really enjoy it. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. A big part of what we have decided to do is really focus on the human psychology, cognitive biases, heuristics, all of the things that influence the way that people make decisions. And so, really passionate about helping businesses to shorten their the time frame that it takes to make a sale by offering more value to their customers, whether it be through education or better products or a better relationship over the long term with the people that are buying their products and services.
That is very impressive. As a fellow
Thank you.
business owner, it would be my dream to be that busy with my business. That it sounds
Well,
like,
keep going and you'll get there.
yeah, it
It's a
sounds like,
symptom of success.
yes, for sure. Yeah, it sounds like you've definitely really made a name for yourself.
I tried. Well, it's pretty easy when you've got a last name like Miles Pickup.
Mm-hmm.
It sticks out. It's one of those names. There's only 8 of us in the world, so when people hear the name Miles Pickup, it tends to stick in their brain.
That definitely helps. And then there's Dylan here with the name Pereira. I think everyone in Portugal has that last name.
So what you're saying is I have to change my last name to Miles Pickup, and then instant success.
I was certainly wouldn't say instant success, but certainly notoriety or what's the right term? Maybe infamy.
Yeah.
My dad taught me very early on that there's nobody else you can blame things on when you're a Miles Pickup because there's so few of us. There isn't another John Smith to point the finger at to say it was somebody else. So we're very protective of our reputation.
Oh, yeah, I can see lots of pros and cons with that.
Hmm.
All right, so you have your hands full. You definitely would face some challenges in running 3 businesses, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Do you want to walk us through some of the maybe the hardest parts of running a business?
Sure. I mean, the hardest part about running 3 businesses is keeping them separate from a target market perspective. We designed them so that they were meant to kind of be lateral businesses to each other, so that they could feed business to each other. So the design agency was our first business, and a lot of our clients were asking, can you do the copywriting? Can you write our sales pages? Can you do those sorts of things? And we started a copywriting agency to service the clients from Pixel True Design Studio, and eventually it branched out to doing a completely different set of business. We started working with Amazon affiliates and blogs and those sorts of things, producing content, and then The publishing agency came about because we started working with some coaches, and they needed a methodology for increasing their authority. And so I wound up with these three very different sales and marketing funnels that we have to stay on top of and deliver very different messages, because they each have their own independent markets. And so that can be very challenging, making sure that you are continuing to represent your business towards the ideal client profile that you have. On top of that, managing the number of people that we have between those three different organizations presents, some unique HR challenges, and dealing with turnover and people. I wouldn't say we've had anybody quiet quit, but people that have become disinterested in their career, or they want to do something different. There's a lot of challenges that come with being a business owner.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't know how you do it. That
I have a really good team.
yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, you would have to. It's like 3 full-time jobs.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
work long hours?
Sometimes, I was accustomed to working long hours before when I was in finance. So coming over to this, I knew that entrepreneurship had a larger daily commitment that you had to make. But I also really wanted to do this because it gives me the flexibility to take the time off that I want. So I have 3 young daughters. I just returned back from going to an individual education plan for my youngest daughter at her school, meeting with the teachers. I'm going to be taking her to horseback riding after this. So it gives me the flexibility to come and go as I please, because I'm the owner and I'm not beholden to somebody else's schedule. But it does mean that, as an example, last night I was working. I had a meeting at 8 o'clock. I had a meeting at 9 o'clock. I didn't wind up finishing until close to 10:30, and then I was on a call again at 4:30 this morning. So, you kind of compromise with what it is that you need to do and the time frame that you need based on what your business demands. But that flexibility is a really nice piece to have at the same time.
Yeah, that would be any person's dream, really. You still get to live your life the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great to hear. And you are Canadian, and all 3 of your businesses are based in Canada, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do have a number of employees that are offshore, but we are based in Canada.
Yeah. Now, that is wonderful because we need more Canadian businesses. And do you find that being Canadian, it kind of gets saturated with American competitors?
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty much every industry is. If you're going to be selling to Americans, there are, 10 times as many American firms because they have 10 times the population.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find a whole lot of American companies, other than in the software industry, coming to Canada to service Canadian clients. So there is. I don't find that the Canadian market is as saturated with U.S. businesses, but if you're going to the U.S., which we do a lot of business in the United States, there is a huge amount of competition there. You really have to sharpen your pencil in terms of pricing. You have to deliver exceptional service and exceptional quality in order to be competitive down there.
Oh, yeah. I understand that too, being Canadian, and I sell Canadian products. And yeah, I want to be able to spread to American consumers, but obviously they all want to support American, and they're usually much bigger as well. So
Yes.
yeah, I understand that struggle for sure. But what do you think the biggest opportunity could be for Canadian businesses?
Biggest opportunity for Canadian businesses would probably be, the whole Buy Canadian movement right
Mm-hmm.
now is a huge opportunity. With the how I'm trying to be politically correct.
It's okay.
The Cheeto in charge in south of us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's with his tariffs and all of that. It represents an opportunity for Canadians to be a bit more patriotic and support Canadian businesses, to keep revenues here in Canada and those dollars being spent in Canada. And it also is opening up a significant opportunity for value add services in Canada. So rather than us exporting everything to the United States for manufacturing or for those additional value add services, we can develop out that business here in Canada and really support other Canadians and keep the money in our own communities.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I was hoping you would use that as your example because that is the biggest thing going on now. Yeah, it is a great opportunity. You're right. Like
Yeah,
everybody just wants to support Canadian now. And so do
yeah,
I. You know, everyone's making sure in the grocery stores that what they're buying was made in Canada, right? So that is
yeah.
definitely a good thing that all businesses should take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, we had a kind of locavore movement for a while there, but it's died out a little bit as inflation and pricing pressures have caused consumers to move towards, the lowest price that they can find. But I think as we're incentivized to buy Canadian again, we're going to be more willing to spend those higher dollar amounts in order to support the people that are around us. And in the end, that will result in a better environment because that money will stay in the communities, resulting in higher wages for Canadians and giving us an overall better quality of life.
Absolutely. We can only hope it will benefit us like that.
Hmm.
So, for aspiring leaders and entrepreneurs who may be listening in, what advice would you give them to succeed within the Canadian market?
I would say whether it's Canadian or any other market, the key to success is being curious. Um, Being curious about the person that you want to serve, whether you're creating a product or whether you're creating a service or anything else. You are essentially creating something to serve as a solution to somebody else's problem. And if you are curious about that individual, about your ideal client profile, you can uncover what the core of their problem is, which will allow you to create a better product or service that meets the needs of that individual. Curiosity also leads to empathy. You're able to really identify what are the emotional triggers that lead to buying decisions, and it leads to a significantly better connection between yourself and your with your customers or clients. Um, I I would, and I say this to my kids all the time, that if you're curious and you're constantly asking questions and looking to learn and understand new areas and new pieces of technology or information, you're going to be much better served than those people that are closed off.
That is some great advice. Thank you so much. And I've already learned so much just from this short discussion, and I really liked how you walked us through how all three of your businesses developed and how they all kind of intertwine with each other. And you are a very, very impressive individual, that is for sure. Again, I don't understand how you do it.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say, but I can't take all the credit. As I mentioned, I have an incredible team. I have an amazing director of operations who keeps my head on straight. I have a great executive creative director. I've got a great business partner that keeps all the numbers straight. I have an incredible wife who supports me through all of the good and bad decisions that I make. And I've got three kids that keep me inspired and working hard every day. So it's all the people that surround me that really deserve the credit.
Yeah, that's lovely. You're right. None of this could be done alone, that's for sure. So,
No,
yeah, you must be a very inspirational role model to your kids.
I like to think so. I think they would probably disagree, but that's what teenagers do, is disagree with their parents. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've been there. Yeah.
So for
Oh, go ahead.
okay, so for a little like side question for you, Warren. Like
sure.
current, what do you see in like So you know how the whole AI thing is becoming like the new thing now, and like how do you see like automation, AI, globalization, stuff like that affecting like Canadian companies? You can use like your company as an example, or just as a whole Canadian companies.
Yeah, it's absolutely an essential part of the future of your business. I think if you're not utilizing it, you're going to get left behind from an efficiency and productivity perspective. Um, AI is taking so much off of our plates in terms of the repetitive and ideation tasks. As an example, for our graphic design agency, we don't use AI designs as a final product, but we will utilize AI in the ideation phase to very very quickly give us a whole bunch of different options as to what we can do, and then narrow that down based on human psychology, and we can feed in all of the parameters that we're looking for about heuristics and cognitive biases and those sorts of things, and it interprets all of that information and places it in there. So if we bring on a new designer as an example, and they're not experienced with how decision making is done from a human psychology perspective, we can teach them very quickly by utilizing AI to give them the ideation that already has all of that info fed into it. Um, that's just one case where we can utilize it. In the publishing business, we'll use it not for the writing of the actual content, but for helping us to create chapter outlines and helping us to identify what are additional areas that the book is missing, what are some additional topics that need to be discussed, what are some alternatives out there that already have content on it that we can use to debunk or to use as a comparison versus the thesis of the author. There is so much information out there that AI allows us to quickly access without having to go and do the laborious task of searching through website after website or scientific paper after scientific paper. It has the capacity to reduce the amount of time that we are using to do simple tasks by in excess of 90%. And in a marketplace that is constantly racing to the bottom from a pricing perspective, where productivity, the amount that you can produce per hour is central to your ability to create margins for your business, AI is a massive piece to being able to be successful in that area.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was actually really cool. That was a cool answer. I was because like everyone I talk to, they're like, oh, we need to limit it, make sure it doesn't freaking overthrow the world or whatever. But
Well, sure, you
from a
can you
market,
can do the Skynet sort of thing and
yeah,
concern about it and all of that, but the reality is, if that were going to happen, we're already on that path. Like that's we're already headed that
yeah,
direction. The AI that we are seeing is a significantly muted version of the AI that is already out there being tested by OpenAI, by Elon Musk's company, by Google, those sorts of things. Those all are they already have versions of it that are significantly advanced beyond what the commercial retail version that we're utilizing on ChatGPT or Grok or Copilot or anything like that already. So I think it's we can be afraid of these things, or we can utilize them and realize that it is going to change the nature of work, and that we have to adapt to it, just the same way that the Industrial Revolution did, the same way that vehicles did. Like, there are all these technological pieces that when you have this crossover between different technological inputs result in massive industrial change. So there's a really good book called "The Future Is Faster Than You Think" by Peter Diamandis, and he writes about how these different converging technologies, whether it's flying cars, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's stem cell research, all these sorts of things, when you have this massive boom of different aspects of technology, even though they seem like they're not interconnected, the result is that they become interconnected, and they all feed off of each other and create this exponential growth of technology and innovation. As an example, AI in stem cell research and pharmaceuticals, that sort of thing. I worked with a company in the pharmaceutical space that was utilizing AI in order to run tests on different pharmaceutical products to understand what other symptoms and diseases that pharmaceutical could be utilized for. And so they're rather than it having to go through manual trials and those sorts of things, it can narrow down the scope of where you would want to deploy that pharmaceutical and where you would want to test it to make the R&D massively more efficient. And so that will result in all of these different drugs now being or portions of those drugs being utilized for different symptoms, different diseases at a significantly lower cost, which will then reduce the cost of pharmaceuticals because you can sell it across a larger range of issues. It is absolutely remarkable what it can do. So that's The Future is Faster Than You Think. Then there's another book called Humans Are Underrated by I'm forgetting his name right now, Jeff Colvin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about the future of the workplace as technology changes it. And his thesis is that, yes, the workplace is going to change. There are going to be lots of jobs that are essentially eliminated because of the development of technology, but that the areas that cannot be changed by technology are empathy based. So they're roles where you require human to human interaction and an understanding of what drives an individual to make decisions in order to be able to influence those decisions and help them to make decisions that seem like they are not in their best interest at the time, but are in their best interest long term. So a great example of that is insurance. I come from a financial background. Life insurance is something that is inherently contradictory to our desire for immediate gratification, right? You are essentially giving up cash now, which would result in immediate gratification for a future benefit. And so intrinsically, we see that as not in our best interest because we're betting against ourselves. But those societies that have a higher utilization of insurance result in being significantly more financially stable because you've created essentially a private safety net for when awful things happen. Right. It allows families to become secure. It ensures that you don't have this, dramatic drop in assets for families where they didn't have a significant amount of cash or secured assets at the time. It's a product that needs to be sold by understanding what is going to influence the person buying it to actually make that decision that feels like it's against their natural interest. And so there are going to be a lot of different roles in society that require that type of education, that type of empathy, and that type of emotive assistance in decision making that won't be impacted by technology. And so it's just about us as a society moving towards what are going to be in-demand roles in the future based on where technology currently cannot go.
Yeah, so that is a wonderful explanation of it. Because I know how everyone is so scared of all of these technologies now, but you're absolutely right. We have to use it as a tool, not as a replacement.
Yeah, one of the terms that I've heard going around about it is that it's a cognitive prosthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So much like utilizing a prosthetic leg or those sorts of things, they're meant to assist where you either have a disability or where you need assistance. Artificial intelligence should be used as a cognitive prosthetic to assist you in your thought and decision-making process. It's there to take some of the load off so that we can think about things more creatively, more critically, and more productively.
Yeah. So based on that, how do you see Well, where do you see your business in, say, the next 5 to 10 years with all of this new technology and AI?
Constantly adapting and evolving, I think, is the right
Mm-hmm.
answer. As technology comes out, we will look at it and utilize it with our team. I think the role of design and copywriting and publishing is going to change. There is always going to be a portion of the population uh, that does not want to change, that is agnostic to technology and to what's happening. So there will
Mm-hmm.
always be demand for those for other aspects, but we will move forward with it and likely become significantly more productive, much like how computer costs and TV costs and all those sort of things have come down over time from a proportional basis and a net of inflation basis. The same thing will happen with a large variety of different services. They will need to become more efficient. That cost will come down for consumers, and we may enter a period of deflation rather than inflation because of things becoming more productive. Hard assets, food, that kind of thing will likely continue to inflate, but services and products that can utilize AI and extract more value out of the production process will likely see a period of price deflation.
Yeah, thank you so much for your amazing insight. You have kind of opened my eyes to different opinions, I guess. Like, I never thought of AI being that useful. As a student, it helped me with my writing, but that's as far as it
Mm-hmm.
goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if people listening wanted to find your business, where could they find it?
Pixeltrue.com is our website. They can also find me on LinkedIn under Warren Miles-Pickup. If you search for me, you'll find me because there's only one. Um, and I've Instagram, Facebook, all those sorts of things. If you just search for Pixel True, it will come up. And then Pixel Copy and Pixel Publishing are typically there as well. But Pixel True is our main business.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. So thank you so much for being here with us. This has been a wonderful conversation.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks.
No worries. Yes,
Yeah.
it was fun.
All right. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you to everyone who tuned in to listen to this episode, and we will see you in the next one.